The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this broadcast or podcast without the express written consent of Spaced Out Radio or Spaced Out Radio Limited is strictly prohibited. Listener discretion is advised.
Bumblefoot. Bumblefoot.
Are you experienced?
Stop right there!
From high atop the mountains of British Columbia to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
They let us play with all our toys. They let us think that we're big boys. They let us make a lot of noise, but we ain't rule the world. They let us think we're Superman.
You can follow us on our website, spacedoutradio.com, on iTunes and TuneIn. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Facebook at Spaced Out Radio Show, or on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you. I will stop till I reach the top just to be there with you. With you.
Dave, oh Dave, are you playing with Bigfoot and aliens again?
Dad, you gotta stop haunting the ghost. It's scaring them.
All right, seriously, put down the pointy sticks.
Oh, the deeper I fall.
Okay! Game on! Game on! Game on!
The password is...
All right.
Buckle up, space travelers. It's time to go for a ride on Spaced Out Radio. Mr. Bumblefoot, Dave is ready for liftoff.
I try to act so cool, but you know I'm just a fool for you. For you.
Seriously, Dave? Really? Aren't you a little old for a tinfoil hat?
Hello, Toby. Bye-bye. Love you. Bye-bye.
Please take your seat above all. We're with you to prepare for takeoff. Start. 2, 1. Boost ignition and liftoff.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, it's like the deeper I go, the deeper I fall. The deeper I go, the deeper I fall. Yeah, the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, and it's great to have you along for the ride on this Friday, June 30th. Saturday, July 1st. If you're on the East Coast or across the pond, happy Canada Day to my fellow Canucks as we are looking good, ready to party for year number 150 here in north of the 49th parallel. Thank you so much for being with us. We are live right here in the Great White North on top of the mountains of central British Columbia as we are here 7 days a week. Let's welcome in everyone listening in on our terrestrial stations. WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are live as well on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. We're also live at spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas, the High Plains Talk Radio Network, and if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember, the Double R Machine is a donation station valued by you, the valued listener. Make sure you throw a few bucks in the kitty to help on at freedomslips.com. If you like our music, make sure you rock with us to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy. Bumblefoot is the official sound of SOR. If you're on social media, you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give your Facebook page a like, or ours a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, you can follow me at Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download our shows from iTunes. We're also on RadioGuide.fm, Player.fm, TalkStream Live, and Stitcher. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for as low as $5 a month. We're going to get into that just a little bit more a little bit later. Now, if you want to take part in this show, you got to do me a favor. You got to sign into one of our chat rooms. Go to our website by clicking Listen Live. You can go on Revolution Radio, on Spreaker, on the UPRN chat room, or maybe you're one of the lucky ones who's a Facebook member of the SOR Space Travelers Club. Or if you're on Twitter, just go to hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I will get your questions and comments in there as well live during the show. Now, if you head to our website for $5 a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. You can also go to our Spaced Out Radio store, pick up a t-shirt, poster, or an SOR sticker. And with that, we also have on sale right now until July 31st, 10% off VIP tickets to the first annual Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon, being held September 29th to October 1st at the beautiful Spruce Hills Resort and Spa in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. You are invited. We want to party with you. Come hang out with us, Spaced Out Radio weirdos. It's going to be a great weekend. Also on our website, we have the Encounter Online, our news section put together by Eric Markham and Everett Thiemer. You can check out my latest blog there as well. And if you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report. It's the last Friday of the month, which means it's time for another edition of the Spaced Out Radio Paranormal Roundtable. So this is what we do. We bring in a crew of people, friends of the show, to come on in, throw some random questions out. None of us know each other's questions, so we're all answering blindly. Tonight, we may have a couple of more people jump in, but we have from the Encounter Online, Eric Markham and Everett Thiemer, from Forest Moon Paranormal and S4, we have Eric Cooper, and from Spaced Out Weekend, James Tyson. His partner, Elizabeth Anglin, may join us in hours 2 and 3. So, let's get things started. And you know what? I'm feeling generous tonight. So, this is what I decided to do, because I have the power to do this. So, I'm doing it. I said, screw it, I'm doing it. What I am doing is I'm going to give away a Spaced Out Radio prize pack tonight. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. I know. The Ukrainian in me has kind of calmed down, so I'm not feeling cheap tonight. So this is what you... Hat. No hats. T-shirt, okay. Poster, few stickers to stick around, maybe on your vehicle to help promote. I'm going to do it all. And so what we're going to do is this. If you are chatting throughout the show, we're going to do the draw in hour number 3. So if you're hanging out in one of the chat rooms, either on Facebook at the SOR Space Travelers Club, on Spreaker, or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you're automatically entered. And those who show up late, well, they're automatically entered too. Then at the end of the night, this crew here, we're all going to decide who's going to win. I'm going to give away a t-shirt, posters, stickers. What the hell? You know what? It's Canada Day. Our country's 150 years old, already on the East Coast, now moving its way westward. So we're going to party. We got the maple leaf flying right behind me right now here, and we want to have a good time. So, gentlemen, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you all back, my friends. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
I'm glad to be here.
Good crew tonight. Good crew tonight. Yes, male dominance for the first time in a long time on the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. I'm excited about giving some stuff away, to be honest. I really am. So, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Giving away stuff it's always fun.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely. So, you know,
Hey, is the panel eligible to get free stuff too?
only beard tugs.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
So all of you, considering you're all sporting some pretty good beards, all of you are in line for a free beard tug, courtesy of Spaced Out Radio. That's just the way it goes.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So let's have some fun tonight, because I want to make sure that anybody who's listening gets the opportunity to win this prize. So remember, if you leave early, your name is out. You have to be here for the start of hour number 3. And we're going to do that draw in hour number 3. I can't tell you when. This is what you call a hook, a tease. All right? Hook and a tease. So I'm going to force you all to stay here with us. Now, normally on this show, like I said in the intro, we ask questions. None of us know what the questions are. We're going to have a lot of fun with this tonight, and this show usually flies on by. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the panel started right off the bat. And I'm going to get things going here. And those who were listening last night, gentlemen, Ian Holt, my guest, who comes on every second month, brought up I don't know if you guys have seen it. You probably have. There's this CGI video going around Facebook that shows a globe that is spinning really close to Earth. And I don't know about you guys. I thought it was completely fake the first time I saw it. I just shook my head and I'm like, really? Another one of these? But there's gullible people out there. They actually believe this thing was actually true. This leads me to the question. And Everett, I'm going to start with you on this one, and James, I'd like you to follow up. Do you think that with technology like CGI, that it's killed the possibility of true paranormal evidence caught on tape? Whether that's ghosts, whether that's aliens, whether it's cryptids like Bigfoot. Everett?
You know, I think that it hasn't killed it, but it has severely damaged it. There is so much out there that is obviously CGI or fake or something. And the thing is that I saw it, Ian shared it, and I saw it, and my first reaction was, it's fake. But just in terms of, you know, doing our due diligence and really looking at something, just because it looks like it might be fake, we need to investigate to really confirm that it's fake. I put him in touch with a forensic video analyst who took maybe 5 minutes to tear it apart and show why it was fake and prove that it was fake. But that doesn't mean that every video is going to be fake. I don't think it's killed it, but I think that the bar has been set higher, and that we're going to have to really look at these videos, and when a real one comes out, it's going to have to be fabulous. It's going to have to be, no questions about it, it's going to be definitive proof. Will that ever happen? I really doubt it. So until then, I think we're going to spend a lot of time looking at fake and questionable videos.
James, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with the same. It's affected it to the point, and I can go back as far as that transition between, you know, string puppets and the Thunderbirds to a little more extravagant CGI in TV series back in the 80s and 90s, and now look what you're getting. I look at the film, the new Pirates of the Caribbean filmed here in Vancouver. You look at it and you're going, where do we have an ocean full of rocks like that? You just can't you can't believe what they're doing with the computers. Now, we've got video. If you can get video of something and say, this is my video, I didn't do anything with it. Really, that's all you have. You have no, other than you're going to go through some really good interrogation or being hypnotized, and then you have to trust the hypnotist who actually hypnotized. It's just a pain in the butt. It comes down to it. It's a trust issue. And if I trust that Eric Cooper got a video of something because I know Eric, then I'm going to say, yeah, I believe it. But the stuff that's floating around on the net, it's fake news, I tell you. You can't tell. You really can't tell.
I'm going to jump in here too. In that we get pictures and videos in Forest Moon all the time, and who am I to say it's fake? I wasn't there when they took the picture. I don't know what they saw. I wasn't there when they took the video. Bottom line is, we will send the team out, and if there's nothing there on site, then okay, it probably was fake. But I'm not going to determine it's fake without sending the team out to verify on site. But you're right. The media and YouTube and whatnot is so inundated with just a plethora of
nice use
stuff.
of plethora there, by the way. Nice use of plethora.
Exactly. I have to. But, there's so much stuff, and half of it is CGI. Have you guys seen the ISIS shoots down UFO video? It's such a joke. They even sit there and they mock an alien that they supposedly found, which is obviously a fake. But I mean, it's crazy, and it's hurting the paranormals because there's so much crap out there.
Eric Markham.
Yeah. Oh,
your comment? This is where you speak.
Oh, okay. It's getting to where anymore if I don't shoot it myself, or really, like James said, if Eric Cooper said he got it, I would have to trust the source. It's getting to where the CGI is so good now that video is virtually useless. I just can't imagine taking it at face value anymore.
But guys, and anybody can jump in here, do you not feel that is a very, very detrimental attitude for all of us to have, considering that, video, if you go back to the Phoenix Lights, or you rewind to, next to the Zapruder film, the Patterson-Gimlin film, with the female Sasquatch, that's been proven real. Are those days over? Is that good for what we do?
No. I actually think we've circled around a little bit. I don't want to see a high-quality, full-production video. What I want to see is 10 or 15 individual people who all happen to have their cell phones and maybe don't know each other, all film the same thing from different perspectives. To me, that will be the next step in video. I think the idea of these, almost feature film quality videos is going to go to the side, and I think that hopefully it begins to develop as everybody from, every 8-year-old up has a cell phone with a camera. We should see mass sightings or mass video of the same sighting. And I think that's going to, in the long run, probably help the credibility of some of these sightings.
And Dave, you hit the nail on the head last night with your comment that everyone's after clicks. Everyone's after likes. Everyone's after clicks. Come look at my YouTube and look at all my wonderful videos. And half of them are CGI or half of them are fake. And they're all about their 15 minutes of fame. And in some cases, they've got so many people on their YouTube channel if they're getting paid for it. That's where I see it hurting.
Okay, let's move on to question number 2. James, why don't you come on up and fire off your first question?
Hey, we had a bit of a debate about this last week, but what is a poltergeist?
Ooh, good question.
Very good question.
A poltergeist can be many things. A poltergeist, by definition, is German for noisy ghost. And a poltergeist is usually any case where there's movement. Dish moves across the table, things get flown around, things of that nature. Now, I won't say it's scientific proof or anything like that, but many cases you will find where adolescent energy was the cause of it. Now, was it deliberate by nature with that adolescent? Most of the times not, because they don't understand what they're doing or they're the cause for it. But there are cases where spirits have been known to also move stuff around.
Okay. Follow-up to that is, if anybody else has an opinion, jump in.
I don't know, but I think I think do you think, James, that it's just a vague term for people to explain some extraordinary experiences rather than just having a ghostly adventure around a haunted house? Because I've never, I've seen spirits, much like you have. I live in a haunted house. I'm not afraid to admit that. But I've never had one of those situations where chairs are moving or cupboards are opening and closing or my shower curtain is flying open. I've never had that whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not to jump into my next questions though, but the poltergeist.
Well,
go ahead.
Haven't they done some research that suggests that the possibility that these poltergeists aren't so much an external force, but that like girls going through puberty or boys going through puberty, it's almost like a form of
table
telekinesis, but it's involuntary. Say the teenager isn't aware that they're doing it, but all that angst and craziness just sort of lets itself out. It seems like there's a lot of documented cases where as soon as either the child left or the teen left or they got past that part of their life, the activity stopped. So is it them or is that drawing in something?
I should just remind everybody we have been joined by Elizabeth Anglin from Spaced Out Weekend and Cosmic Passport. So if you hear Elizabeth hopping in, she's now here. Go ahead, Everett.
Excellent.
Does it have to be a teenager or a child, though? At what point do we differentiate between a poltergeist and Dave, Eric, and other Eric? You guys know that I've had some weird things happen at my house, and some of those things have been, like one night we had the tapping on different windows from the outside. Is that a poltergeist? Is that a ghost?
Yours was a spirit.
Okay, but in other cases, do we have to say that the poltergeist is basically only attached to teenagers, and if that or kids? And if that's the case, how do you explain, or where is that line between poltergeist and ghost or spirit?
Well, that's. I'm just going to say this: when I get a case that crosses my computer or my desk, my phone, whatever, and there is movement activity, the first thing I ask the client is, "Do you have children?" If they don't have children, that's where it crosses the line into spirit activity. That's my opinion. Is it possible that somebody adult has that ability? It is. Have I seen that? No. You generally speaking, if there's not a child or teen prepubescent in the house, it turns out that it is a spirit, and that's where I draw. That's where I draw the line.
Okay. Anybody? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the classes that we take in traditional spirit mediumship is table tilting, which is, when it's done correctly, is not a joke. It's physical mediumship. And it does require the physical energy of the mediums to make the tables actually go flying across the room, believe it or not. And the thing is that adults can do this. They can do it if they're trained to do it. You can stop laughing. I'm going to smack you upside the head. So, what you really need is somebody to produce something that creates a vehicle for either telekinesis or physical mediumship. It really doesn't matter what the age is, but it's more likely to be done in a youngster when they're unconscious of it than it is in an adult. An adult would normally have to be conscious and have to be taught how to provide that physical energy for that telekinetic event to happen. So, but there's no question that the only thing that's necessary is the energy to make the physical object move, and all human beings have enough energy to do that, in my opinion.
Well, who here has seen things move? I know I haven't. Anybody right in front of? Well, tell us about them.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, pick one.
Whoever.
Yeah, pick one. Which one?
Well, Dave, you and I and Eric Markham were on the phone when I had a Pepsi can slide across the counter and fall on the floor. You heard it bounce from across the room.
I heard that.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. And it was obviously, it wasn't like you were right there. It was obviously, you could tell by the tone of it and the way it sounded that it was across the room. It wasn't something you just dropped for effect.
No, I was probably about 25 feet away.
Yeah, it sounded like you were, it didn't sound like it was nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
I was with... go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but we see it on Paranormal TV all the time.
Yeah.
Getting back to the first question.
It's real. It's real.
Damn it.
That's so...
I had my camera pointed the wrong way.
Yeah.
Always.
I was with my paranormal group in a pub talking to the manager who said, yeah, we had a group in here last year, but, we had a spirit that was pulling the girls' hairs and stuff like that. And we said, well, do you believe in that? Oh, no, I don't believe in that. And every time she said that, her keys hit the floor, about 9 times into it. And then she finally moved to an area where the waitresses had the little coffee nook thing. And we asked her again, we said, are you sure you don't believe in this? And she said, oh, no, I'll let somebody else worry about that. And we all saw a mug above her head float out from left to right off the shelf and drop right behind her. And we looked at her and we said, you sure you don't believe in this stuff?
Well, I'm gonna throw this in. I have had my bed collapse. And I've told this story on SOR before, but when I was stationed in Germany, I was in the same barracks room for a year. Never had a problem with my bed the entire time. And I had a spirit named Fritz. I named him Fritz. He was a German soldier. And he visited my room all the time. And one of my buddies, we were getting ready to go out and go clubbing. And we were getting ready. And he was sitting on my bed. And he's like, yeah, whatever. I don't believe in no darn ghost. Well, my bed collapsed. He's like, oh. What was that? And we fixed my bed. I'm like, well, you just, ticked off Fritz. He's like, he sat down again. He's like, Fritz, there ain't no ghost here. And my bed collapsed again. And we fixed my bed again. I said, don't say nothing again. And nothing happened after that. But yeah, I have had my bed collapse by a spirit. I firmly believe that because it never happened again, only until he started mocking the fact that there was a spirit in the room.
That's just eerie. We bring in
Oh, he was
Everett.
cool.
Everett, let's get to your next question, or your first question.
My first question? Okay, you kind of stole my thunder with the fake Earth question that you had there to lead things off. But my question involved, there's a video circulating mostly on the Mirror, UK, and it is a video of a girl in a dance studio, and there is a reflection in the mirror behind her that doesn't move with her, and it moves independently of her. My question is, do you guys think these are going to become the next video that videographers and students try and fake because it's easy to do and easy to pull off? Or do you think that this is going to be the next trend of fake videos? Or do you think they're real?
I think it's going to be the next trend. I think it's because I noticed one like that probably about 6 months ago. You know, the little girl in the mirror, when she turns around, her face is still in the mirror, and the expression change. And there's been variations on a theme since that. So I think the one you're talking about. I think that's just a continuation. You know, variation on the theme.
Yeah, they do seem to pop up every few months.
Is somebody doing a movie on that subject that has a theme of a mirror image that does its own horrible thing? Because that's what I notice about these things. When there's a trend, somebody's doing a big budget movie, and they seem to have advanced people go out with these little videos, not of the movie, but of something similar that seems to be real.
Kind of like the clowns walking around at night, scary clowns, and the movie It was coming along and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That brings up an entirely different question. And I don't know if I should ask it.
Go right ahead.
Now you have to.
Oh, please.
Leave us hanging.
I live in Chicago, in the Chicago area, about an hour outside of Chicago. And the whole world is talking about these Mothman sightings in Chicago. Now, last summer and last fall, there were several low-budget horror films filmed in the area, and there's a Mothman Chronicles movie coming out, or maybe it's been released already. But the general feeling I talk to about this, or that I get from talking to people about this, is that this is another form of guerrilla marketing for one of these movies. It's happened in the Chicago area 3 or 4 times. And one of the people even pointed out that, you know, it's an easy connection from West Virginia to Chicago. And where are you going to get more people to notice it? A little town in West Virginia or a town like Chicago? And I know we've talked about this before, but I'm curious what you guys think, because I hear all these guys talk about how they're going to go and investigate it. And I live in the area. I've driven past the places where some of these sightings are. And the thing is, it's not, in the city, it doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal as it is everywhere else.
Well, what gets me about that whole Mothman thing is I work with a young lady who grew up there where the original sightings were, and her take on it is it's an economically depressed area. There's nothing to do, so she thinks they ginned it up to get some tourist money through there.
And I can see that happening.
But that's a lifelong, until recently, a lifelong resident of that area.
Well, and since you bring that up, have any of you guys seen that video of the stick man? It's like a 20-foot, 10-foot tall stick man figure that's climbing around the outside of apartment buildings.
Oh yeah, that's actually. I used to know the name. There's an animation program you can do that with, and I can't Yeah, that's been
Is that
around a long
Slender
time.
Man?
Well, no, there's another one. It looks like a huge spider-like creature, several stories tall, and it's crawling across a building, and then it goes around the corner and it disappears.
Well, and then I've seen some try to tie him to Slender Man. Well, I don't see any relation to Slender Man with this Chick Man thing.
I'm almost wondering if Slender Man's not one of those things that enough people believed in it that it became it almost took on kind of like a tulpa type thing.
Right.
Yeah, but that just got its start on, Creepypasta. That was just a little short story that was written up to sound like a legend, and it seemed to have legs and turned into what it is today. I don't think that there's really any historical fact behind what we're calling Slender Man. I think it was on Creepypasta and got legs.
Here's the curiosity about Slender Man, though, and I'm going to bring up 2 points. There was a movie coming out that I was actually going to be in that actually got paid for before it was going into production, and then it kind of fell through. But I had to make a book about Slender Man. I had never heard of Slender Man at this point in time until these producers came to me, and so I did some research on it. And there's actually wood carvings from Germany of a Slender Man-looking figure. Now, I don't know if that's fake. I don't think so, because it came from a historical... I'd have to look it up again. I'll look it up later and post it. But it is a very close rendition of Slender Man on a German wood carving. Now, with that being said, yeah. Now, there might not be any historical... I would say that's close to historical, but it makes you wonder. Now, getting to thought forums real quick. Just, a few years ago, there were those little girls that stabbed that one little girl because they said Slender Man told them to do it. Now, that's where you look at the danger of what thought forums can do, or the belief in something that may not be real. But these little girls were totally convinced that there was a Slender Man that told them to kill this little girl as more or less a sacrifice to him. If you guys remember that case.
Yeah, that's over in my area.
Mm-hmm.
How closely do you guys think that Slender Man could just be tied to shadow people? Because years ago, I had as an entity, for lack of a better word, that would come into our bedroom at night, and it was just like the shadow man in the corner. But he looked very similar to what the kids and what the myth and the legend and the popularization of what everybody's calling Slender Man now. So could it be just another sort of like a morphing of shadow people?
I think so.
Yeah, and I like Char's question. She wants to know if the power of the mind, do you think mass hysteria of these creatures can make them manifest? And that's exactly what we're talking about, Char, is I do believe if enough people, you have the media. I blame the media on that because you have the media post a story that strikes fear. Fear is very strong. You have enough people that fear this thing, they could manifest it. Just through the energy of the mind.
Well, then they go back into like some of the primitive gods. It was the belief of the people in the small gods, or, how each tribe might have had its own totem creature or something. Could it be just you get that many people thinking or fearing an ideal or a legend, and it gives it life of a sort?
Mm-hmm.
James, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Okay, sorry.
Are you alive?
I am. I'm just wanting to jump in, but then someone brings up something good. I personally think that the beings that we see in our bedroom, standing at the foot of the bed, can be a number of different manifestations of energies, whether spirit. And again, we get into the, what is a spirit versus a ghost. versus a shadow person versus an elemental, whatever. I talked to Bruce Tango about his film he made on, it's called Staring Man, and when he was a child, it was a being that stood at the foot of his bed with a red face and kind of a tilt on his head, and scared the jiggers out of him for a few nights. And he actually went back to the location where it was at and did a bit of a EVP session where he had grown up in an apartment. But it was a weird thing. And I've seen shadows, and I've talked to people who have had the dark shadow beings up in the corner of their rooms and at night. And I've seen similar shapes moving across a wall on an investigation once. Don't know. They come in all shapes and sizes. Some people see tall 15-foot Amy Allen. I think I'd seen one of these peeking around a corner once at a house. It was about, head was on the second floor about. So 20 feet off the ground, and it looked at her like, "Oh, you can see me?" And just shook his head and walked away. So is that an elemental? Is that something that existed on this planet long before us? Some people can see them. I don't know. I'm going to have to go to the other side to get the answers for this one. And I was down at a paranormal conference, and Daryl from our chat room was there from New York, and she's always talking about seeing things. And she was on the same paranormal investigation I was on, and she says, "Do you see that guy standing under the tree there?" And a bunch of us said, "No." And a psychic said, "Oh, yeah." And they both described exactly the same thing, which kind of made her happy that there was actually somebody else who could describe exactly what she was seeing. So who knows? There are people who see these things, and there's people who don't. I sure as heck didn't.
Let's get to another question here, as we want to keep things moving along. Eric Cooper, have you asked a question yet?
Is that your question, Dave?
Oh, I don't know. Did we lose Cooper? Because we never know. See, our audience has to know here that Cooper's line will drop at least 1 to 3 times this show. It's just it's habitual now. Go ahead, Coop.
I'm actually walking in the backyard because the dog just chased something up. But no, I do have a question, and my questions tonight actually come from the Forest Moon Paranormal Astral team. I took a break. In the last 25 years, have we seen a change in how abductions happen and how abductions are treated as far as the details abductees are telling us?
Yes.
That's a toughie.
Yes.
Now, my answer to that would be, and I told him, give me questions I can answer. But no, and there's actually a couple that I can't answer. That's why I'm bringing them to the roundtable. But so in the 90s, when I first got into UFO and abduction work, you saw more of the alien hybrid program from the Greys. And the hybrids that they were creating were more or less, from what I'm seeing, abducting today. Also, Elizabeth Englund can attest that a lot of the abductions today are also happening from the astral, and they're also happening from the soul matrix level. So I'd say that's probably the one of the changes you're seeing in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I'll add to that. There are different groups abducting now for different purposes than the hybrid program. A lot of people in 1997 and really stopped being abducted or being abducted as often for the hybrid program by the typical sort of Greys that were abducting at that time. There's another group that is abducting people for a different purpose, and it's more of a genetic engineering of human beings. And this has not happened to me. I've had people come to me, and I've looked at their situation and gone, "Oh, that's those guys." And you know, that I'm not so keen on, because to me it speaks of a group that is interested at some point in time sort of taking over human genetics and humans. This is not the same group that was doing the hybrid program, and that has to be made very clear. They're making smaller, different, they're making adjustments in humans. They're not hybridizing humans for any purpose. But there's also something else that it's kind of like, if the crap hits the fan and humans can't manage themselves, then we're going to come in and take over and have genetically engineered humans that are under our control. That sounds really scary, but that's just one group. And you know, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, if anything will come of that whatsoever. The other thing is, we have a lot more people who aren't getting abducted at all, but are realizing their soul origins or their spirit origins on another planet, and they're having difficulty integrating the energies of their higher self, their complete soul, into their human body. And they're not abductees, but they do have alien information, and it's like they're getting downloads of this information, energetic and informationally, and having memories and things like that. It doesn't mean they're being taken over and having implanted alien memories in order to somehow go become aliens and work for the aliens. Everybody still has their free will on this planet. But I see a lot more of that than I do anybody who is doing anything with the hybrid program, except for people who were involved in it before 1997, who still have family members who are hybrid. And I've rambled, so I'll stop.
Well, I'd like to ask you a question on that. Now, you mentioned the ones that are getting downloads, and I want to clarify for the listeners that I have two classifications. I have abductees, which are being taken against their will. Then you have contactees, which to me are the ones that are actually having benevolent versus malevolent contacts with these aliens. And the contactees are having, for the most part, wonderful experiences. They're getting nothing but information. They're getting, the whole Space Brothers, the whole aliens are a wonderful experience, whereas the abductees are the ones that are getting traumatic. And then to add to that, you have my labs, which are government and alien joint.
And those have changed. I really believe in the rehab. There's more rehabs now than my labs. There were my labs in the 70s and the 80s. I was in my lab. But now, and we even got to the point when in the program I was in, which was the hybrid program, and they were doing other research with hybrids, the original hybrid group. But I was also teaching people various skills, I was teaching remote viewing to a bunch of kids. I actually know one of the kids that I taught ended up being a rehab, and they totally twisted this poor guy. I mean, he is scary beyond belief, and he thinks that he's supposed to use his skills to go kill anybody who's friends with the aliens, or kill aliens, or, I mean, it's just like, yeah. And he actually was one of my students, and I met him met him in the real world for a chat group, and I remote viewed what he was talking about, and I went, but he was good enough at remote viewing to remote view my house, which was in the middle of nowhere, and particulars about it, and that just, it creeped me right out, and it was like, well, where'd you learn to do that? And I looked to see where he learned it. It was from me, and I went, oh crap, it was like, so. I think there was a point when everything was shifting over to raising consciousness, and abductees were getting together, if not in this time frame on the planet, but, with the aliens and with each other, and learning things from each other. And then the government said, oh, well, let's take advantage of that. And that's a very scary thing, too. Anyway.
Well, I'd like to add, too, is that, and you brought up the point, there are 16 different races that we know of that are all abducting, each with their own purpose. Some of those races, again, we don't know what they're doing. Some races, they don't return the abductees. And I think that's where the missing people, in some cases, comes into play, because they don't come back. Again, 16 races, they're all doing their own thing. some for science, some for hybridization, some for DNA manipulation. And, it's just a matter of which race is taking you. And we are actually at the point where we have stopped abductions through astral combat. And that's a new venture that we're taking on. We actually have successfully stopped at least 2 cases. Abductees just need to come forward and we can help them. But it's a matter of getting that word out.
Yeah, if you feel really embattled, divine intervention or, becoming more skilled in the astral plane is where it's at. And a lot of people will say, you're just blaming the victim. And it's like, no, I was the victim. I was the victim consciously for 7 years, and for the rest of my life. And, I did divine intervention with Mother Mary and Archangel Michael, and that frickin' worked. But I changed my agreement. I didn't, I still wanted to help, but I didn't want to be abducted and have the things that they were doing, and they don't. But that, if you really have to go there, I don't know how Eric's doing stuff, but I can attest to, you have to go there. You have to go to the spiritual, to the astral, and to where your power is and where your sovereignty is, and work with it. So, yeah, good.
But how are the reports changing? When people have these abductions, how are their experiences changing? Is the trend going towards more malevolent, unpleasant? Is the trend leaning towards, more of a benevolent abduction? What in general is the trend?
It's really confusing. I'm an admin on an abduction support group, and actually we're getting to a point where we're thinking of shutting the group down because we have a lot of interlopers who are bringing things from TV and the movies, and I know what they are. I can see them very clearly when somebody's telling something from a movie that isn't about an abduction, because it's like, nope, that never works that way. And when I brought that up, people have said, well, Elizabeth doesn't know everything. It's like, I freaking know a lot more than you do, and you're lying. And that was what we used to have a Bud Hopkins. We used to have the researchers get together, and when abductees got together, you would usually have a researcher who had been trained by Bud or by David Jacobs or somebody else who had these telltales that would be like, nope, they're fibbing, they got something else going on. And now we don't have that. We have a lot of groups. We have people coming in from the X-Files, and they're reporting everything from sleep paralysis to shadow people to the astral events to really hardcore physical things that they do really need help with, but they're all intermingling, and there's really isn't even, we tried very hard for a few years and thought we did a good job of keeping out the interlopers, but eventually now people are just reporting anything and everything. And if you get to, I guess, in Eric's group, Eric, maybe you can answer this, the one thing that isn't happening is that we don't have, and this is a good side effect of this, we don't have researchers putting their bias on what their abductees are reporting, which I think is awesome. But the other thing is we're getting too much intermingling of TV and movies and media and sleep paralysis and, people saying, did you know all abductees have Asperger's or autism? And it's like, what are you talking about? Or they're not very smart. And it's like, people coming into these groups and saying, I'm an abductee and I have Asperger's. And it's like, how many other Asperger's people are here? Well, you should allow me in because, it's part of the process. And it's like, no, people are just claiming things that aren't true.
Right. And if you know what the patterns are, because now in answer to the question, we don't deal with benevolent ones. That's just not the nature of what Forest Moon does. We're an emergency response team. So we only see the malevolent cases. And I have a set pattern. And in our emergency, in our questionnaire that we send to all clients, there is a set pattern that I look at. That, have you seen a UFO? Do you have missing time? Do you have nosebleeds? Do you have, there's 78 different signs and symptoms of an abduction based on different researchers. And I only look at about 10 of them because the rest of them are so general. It could be
broad.
anything.
Yeah.
Right. So I only look at about 10 of the signs, and then I'm not really an advocate of hypnotherapy, because if you go to the wrong hypnotherapist, you could walk out not even being abducted. You could walk out completely convinced you've been abducted by 20 different races. I'm more an advocate of conscious recall, which can be done through dream journaling. That can be done through meditation, things of that nature. You find out the answers yourself. The other side of that,
I disagree severely with that, and for many reasons, but go ahead. And the reason is that there are too many people who are addicts that really do need to go to a good hypnotherapist in order to help with their addiction process.
All right, guys, I gotta cut it off because we are about to go to break here momentarily. Damn it, we were just getting into a good debate, too. It was Eric Cooper versus Anglin here on Spaced Out Radio. It's a lot of fun as they're about to drop the gloves on the mighty SOR. Hour number 2 of the Roundtable coming up right after this, so make sure you tune on in. Coming September 29th to October 1st, the first annual Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon. Hi, this is Dave Scott. The event will be held at the Spruce Hills Spa and Resort in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Come join us for an amazing weekend of speakers talking all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Sasquatch, intuitiveness. Listen to great speakers like Miriam Delicato, Samantha Mowat, and the crypto guru Ronald Murphy. Get your VIP passes by going to spacedoutradio.com and clicking on the Paracon banner. Come to BC, where the paranormal is waiting for you.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Have you had an experience you can't explain? Had a run-in with ghosts, maybe Bigfoot, or seen lights in the sky? Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt from the SOR Sightlines. I'm here to investigate your sighting. Head to spacedoutradio.com and fill out a report on the Sightlines. All your information is 100% confidential, and I will help you figure out what you've been seeing. File your report, and let's find out the answers together.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. With their money-back guarantee and the many benefits, how can you afford not to get one? Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com for mind, body, and spirit, and expect a miracle.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Have you got your Cosmic Passport? If you need one, tune in to Cosmic Passport on Spaced Out Weekend. This is Elizabeth Anglin, ET experiencer, spirit medium, and host of Cosmic Passport. Each weekend I'll be bringing you interviews and support from other paranormal experiencers, and the best in intuitive spiritual guidance from across the globe. It's all happening starting at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, midnight Eastern, on spacedoutradio.com.
From British Columbia to Northern California, Pacific North Weird has Cascadia covered. Check out our feature videos at spacedoutradio.com, where I, Vincent Zunza, and my super sleuth partner Alexandra Sullivan track down the weird and strange stories from around the Pacific Northwest, from Bigfoot to Mel's Hole and everything in between. This is what makes life exciting. So why report the normal when we can report the Pacific North Weird right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Oh, there's only one way to rock. Loud and proud. In high definition. Radio 702 rocks. Las Vegas.
Every Saturday and Sunday night, as Dave Scott wanders aimlessly in the wilderness, you can come hang out with me, James Tyson, in Spaced Out Weekend. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, I'll take you along as we talk with some of the best experts in their fields. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to find us. So sit down, relax, put your feet up, enjoy the topics like the paranormal, supernatural, intuitiveness, and so much more. Hope to see you there.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the program and Sunday, Uncle Jimbo, James Tyson, and Elizabeth Anglin are in the cabin for Spaced Out Weekend, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, as Uncle Jimbo takes you right through Canada Day celebrations as we are 150 years old and here in the Great White North. Thank you so much for being with us. SpacedOutRadio.com is the place to listen live. We are live on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Noonan, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Great to have you with us. We're also live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell, yeah, I know you set the password each and every night here, but this is just foolish, man. This is just foolish. I'm going to tell you that right now. Floxy-nosy-hilipilificate. Floxy-nosy-hilipilificate. Or pilification. Pardon me, pilification at the end of that. I'm not even repeating it again until the next hour, but Bill sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Floxy-nosy-hilipilification. Brutal. Who comes up with that? Who's the idiot who comes up with that word and says, hey, let's put this in the dictionary? Wow. Wow. Hey, if you want to follow us on social media, and I want to give a shout-out here, if you don't mind. And this is to, where are you here? Caveman Ugg. Caveman Ugg, brand new listener, following us on Twitter. All the team on Twitter has shifted over to Spaced Out Radio at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of our nightly festivities here on Twitter. We really appreciate that. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it is at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. On Instagram, Dave Scott, SOR. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. Tune us in on TuneIn. Download this show and others on iTunes. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Head to our store, pick up some VIP passes for our first annual Caribou Paracon, September 29th to October 1st in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. You can come to Spaced Out Radio Land. We'd love to have you that weekend, and you can read up on the encounter online as well, our news section. So, I bring in the panel for the SOR Space Travelers. I'm rattled, guys. I am rattled by that password. That one,
Flopsy.
It's FLOCCINAUHILIFICATION.
Is it Latin?
Who cares? Who cares? Who is the jerk who made this word? Seriously. How lonely and desperately single do you have to be to create this word? That's all I want to know. Floxy-noxy-hilipilification. I think that's it.
It hurts just to hear you say it.
It does. It does. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. You know?
And that's it for the show tonight.
Yes, we're all worn out.
Where does Bill get these words? Does he have a dictionary just full of?
I don't know.
Let's some day words.
Yeah, this is what I've been able to figure out. This is what I've been able to figure out. Him and his beautiful wife Katie sit around the dinner table eating maple syrup on ice cream, because Bill's always eating ice cream with maple syrup on it. And I swear to God that they say, how can we screw up Dave tonight? Because he starts off easy. He starts off easy on Monday, but by Friday, all hell is broken loose. All hell is broken loose.
Well, at least he doesn't give you a word like tractor.
I like Joe's password of tractor. Seriously.
What does it say about my capabilities? It says, well, we better not test her too hard. She needs something simple like tractor.
Tractor.
Well, at least he gave you one. He didn't even give me one.
Oh, that's
he never gives me any.
I didn't rate a password.
You didn't rate at all.
He's biased.
It's terrible.
Joe, Dave, I want to give a shout out real quick because the whole Forest Moon Paranormal's Astral Combat Team is listening.
Oh, right on, right on.
Did they have helmets?
They do.
Excellent.
They have astral helmets.
Astral helmets.
They look like Viking horns.
If I was a remote viewer on your team, I would wear a Viking horn hat. I totally would.
But where would you wear it? Oh, no.
He's wrong.
Definitely in the shower. Definitely in the shower.
Anyway.
Before you start wearing a Viking hat, I think you need to start growing some Viking hair.
Yeah, it started. I've actually started growing it. I've actually started growing the hair because I'm jealous of all of you guys. So that's what I'm doing.
Growing it on little SOR and then hoping it'll transplant onto you doesn't count.
No.
No.
Coming from the guy who's bald.
Yes, but I'm bald by genetics.
Okay. All right. Right before the break, we were having a debate between Cooper and Elizabeth, something about deep dish pizza and what aliens like to throw on their pizzas. So
feta.
So, you know what? In lieu of time here, we got a ton of questions to get through our team on the show. We're going to continue on, and we're going to move on here. Elizabeth, your first question of the night.
Oh, please, I don't have one. Okay, so I'm going to ask Joe's, which is about, I hope you didn't ask it earlier. Rob Lowe and his son are coming out with a new paranormal show. Are we going to give them a chance, or are we just going to click on by it?
I don't even watch paranormal TV. We don't even have cable in our house. We do not, and that's by choice. I think they're all a joke. I'm not even giving them the chance.
Okay.
So what are you saying?
What about you, James?
Just make up your mind. I may watch it once and then walk away. You know, I find these paranormal shows a lot like watching Gilligan's Island. You invest that time in it, and you still know they're not getting off the friggin' island. I mean, you know they're not going to get a picture of a ghost, and the clearest thing you're going to get is something you barely can't hear. That's probably why more people actually go do this themselves, because they get more evidence on their own walking down the street than these yahoos do getting paid a whack of money and going to some really cool locations. I don't know why they're not getting stuff. We get movies filmed here in mansions that actually have to toss footage of this lady in a long white dress coming down the stairs because she's a ghost. They have to reshoot shots because of the audio they pick up other voices. So I don't know why these flippin' TV shows can't go out and get something by at least the second episode. Off you go.
I'm just going to add too. In Forest Moon, we're dealing with 5 cases a day. Do you really think I have time to watch a joke of a TV show?
Yeah,
not really.
Go
ahead.
No, okay, I'm going. I got the conch here. Thank you. I stole it from you. I appreciate that. My thing is, none of these TV shows are bringing anything new to the table. All it is the same footage, technically speaking, with different characters.
Yeah.
You know, and now Rob Lowe came out today and said that he was chased by a Bigfoot.
Oh,
God. You know,
was it a
you
female?
threw my thunder again.
You know, I mean, here we go.
If he was only thinking, he could have been the first guy killed by one. So
I see that as an actor using his status.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I was going to watch it. I was going to watch it with an open mind, and just try not to come to it with any preconceived ideas or anything. Just sit down and watch it. But then I saw that report today where, what did he claim, that he was almost killed by a Bigfoot or something?
Yeah.
Right away, to me, that reeks of, let's stir up the pot, create some buzz, and start marketing this thing, and it's just going to be like every other show.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a new trend. You're going to see, we're going to see more celebrities jumping onto the bandwagon that's making money.
Also, you know, it is he, I believe, in his sons. And you have to remember that women of a certain age, my age, he was a hot thing back in the 80s when we were looking at hot things. And, you know, so he still is, you know, if you have mothers and daughters watching a show, a paranormal show, there's that added, you know, eye candy thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's going to be mother-daughter bonding time watching Rob Lowe and his son.
Exactly. Who cares about the paranormal? We don't care.
Well, I've seen the looks of this entire crew here, and there is no way, besides you, Elizabeth, that any of us would deserve camera time.
There's actually, statistically, there are more women that watch the paranormal shows than men.
Yeah.
In fact, if you go through the statistic that we have for this show and break it down by demographics, right now we're at 60.26% female, and the rest is undecided.
Well,
But
and
go ahead.
Statistically, you could probably maybe you see this trend too, James. Statistically, I'd say about 80% of our caseload is female, because most of them, their husbands, either one, don't believe of what they're going through, or two, they're just skeptics.
Yeah,
and it's probably the same thing. But I'd say 80% of our caseload is female.
And I think that kind of relates directly to the break of sensitive humans over non-sensitive or empathic empaths versus non-empaths. It's the majority are women. It's changing over the last 10 years. It's starting to, there's a lot of males coming up in that, but it was always, the women that had that whole witchy thing kind of locked down. But now,
well, that I'd say testosterone. A man's not going to admit when there's something that he can't, fix, deal with. Yeah. It's just not macho, or it's just how dare something come into my home that I can't remove. It kind of hurts the ego, maybe.
Yeah, it's harder. I mean, even in alien abduction, the men did not have an easy time with it.
No.
At all, because it's harder. You're supposed to be the protector. It really calls the manliness into question.
Exactly.
Coop,
and that's Coop. Go ahead.
You said something back a little bit about Rob Lowe jumping on the paranormal bandwagon as a celebrity. Do you think that that's going to become a trend? And what do you think that's going to do to the credibility of an already struggling field if we have all these, I won't say, D-listers, but we begin to get these people who maybe their career's not quite where they want to be, so they go jump over to the paranormal and come up with a show for this network or that network. What's that going to do long term?
Well, I think it's going to create a wave, because you see a lot of the paranormal shows that were, 10 years ago, a couple of them in jail. They're starting to fall, so I think celebrities are jumping on to maybe spur it on again. What's it going to do in the long term? I think, one, it's going to increase, again, people's response to the paranormal. We might see another wave, and two, you're going to bring up more debunkers, more fakery, just like we see already. But I think you're going to see a trend that you might see more celebrities jumping onto the paranormal bandwagon.
Oh my God! That means that the one Wilson Phillips singer is going to be on there, Carney or whatever her name is. Carney Wilson is going to be.
Why don't we take a picture of everybody and send it to Rob Lowe and say, when you look like these guys, we'll start watching. Beards.
All I know is that I'm going to have nightmares tonight thinking of Carney Wilson and Ricky Lake getting together to do a paranormal show, because both their careers are in the tank.
Hey, wait a minute, Carney Wilson has already done the rounds of the paranormal shows with her story of the haunted studio that her and her husband were recording in out in California. I can't remember exactly where, but she's already done the rounds of the paranormal shows with that story.
Was that a Taco Bell?
So she's setting the precedence.
That'll be Ricky Lake's new talk show. Alien abductions and ghost witnesses.
So it'll be like Springer.
Oh, please, no.
All right. Preacher, have you asked your question yet?
No, I have not.
Then you fire away.
Okay. We are apparently, from what I've been reading in some of the journals, less than 10 years away from androids that are nearly indistinguishable from humans, and they're already eyeing the sex trade market. Now, where do you fall on that? Say you got this thing that's behaves like a human being, interacts. For all intents and purposes, it's like a custom programmed life mate. And I can think of like people that would really appeal to. Is it going to be going down a slippery slope to extinction, or, how do you think that is going? What kind of effect do you think that's going to have on regular relationships?
A Darwin Award, everybody who marries one of them.
That's news to me.
My first thought is I'll try anything once, and then my second thought is ew.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take the narcissist out of the pool so the rest of us can actually find the nice guys. So the narcissists who only want us to be what they want us to be for them can all get robots, and then the rest of us can go on and find each other instead of getting roped into dealing with the a-holes.
Well, no, I think there's a deeper. I mean, yeah, you're going to get the narcissistic ones, but how about the person that, due to some kind of accident or, face it, we all see people every day that you think, okay, they are just, they might be the nicest people on earth, but you can't see past the defect, or, these people go through life basically shunned or alone. Now, there's an option.
It might be good for them, but I mean, some of us need personality and intimacy, and you're not going to have that with Android.
They're programming these. They're programming these things, or the programming is getting to the point where it's not quite artificial intelligence, but there is a reaction. We're talking in 10 years when these things really become available. It's probably going to be pretty close to artificial intelligence, if not fully. We're looking kind of like the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, where you couldn't tell the humanoid Cylons from regular humans.
I don't like there are so many questions I have, and none of them are appropriate for this show. But do you turn it off when you're done? Does it sleep in the bed with you?
Does he have alternate settings? I mean, can he? Yeah, never mind.
I mean, think about that's something to think about, though. You could option that. Yeah. It's like, you could have certain. I'm not going to get graphic, but use your imagination. The things that you could augment that creation with, and I mean, it could be better than lifelike.
I gotta say, I gotta say this on Twitter. Jeff Gear, just sometimes the guys on Twitter they absolutely kill me. He says, wear protection. Don't want a virus to upload to your bits.
And I'm reading the same comments in the Spreaker chat where
that's awesome.
Trips in here saying, do they even make some that talk? Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Automatic shut off.
Oh my God.
Do they, in looking on the instructions, do they actually come with a, can they make me a sandwich? These are more, to me, I could see as more of a masturbable kind of unit, like that old Woody Allen movie Sleeper, where they had the orgasmatron. They'd stand in.
Stand
inside of it. Yeah, it's I think to get away from the machine itself, I think those little 3D goggle things, you like throw your iPhone up on your eyes and see everything, and then you just find yourself a warm watermelon in a quiet spot.
Well, I'm just saying they are saying that this is right around the corner, and I think in some cases, if you've got the money, if you've got the money, you can get some of the prototypes now.
If you got the money, you can get the real thing, and they leave in an hour, and you don't have to phone them the next day.
If you got the money, I got the time. Is it the
No.
song?
No, I'm serious though. What do you think that the dynamics are going to, the male-female dynamic is going to change? Because it's going both ways. It's not just, for the women or for the men. They're creating these things for women too.
All I'm saying is I'm just getting over this whole non-binary crap. I'm just getting over this whole non-binary crap. Okay, so, I mean, do we really now got to have Tinder for robots?
It's not a matter of Tinder for robots. It's a matter of people who don't like to interact with people, but they want that, they still have that urge. Are we going to have like high rises full of people that work from their home and have their love bot?
Right.
So basically, if I'm walking downtown Seattle and you're telling me that some of the humans I'm looking at are cyborgs.
No, it's
in Seattle.
It's not going to be quite. Yeah, maybe. No, I've never been out there.
Oh man, I just rewrote a song in my head. I can't help. I gotta sing it. Love bot, baby, love bot.
No. I'm calling. I'm putting the gavel down, and I'm calling an end to this one before it gets way too out of control. I'm gonna ask my second question of the night as we bring this on back. As everybody who listens to this show knows, I live in a haunted house, and a couple of you, or only one of you, James, you're the only one on the panel that's been here. All of you will come up to my house for the Paracon and come join the party that we'll have. And then you'll learn that, I've been told by Force Moon Paranormal's Eric Cooper, one of his remote viewers, Tony, basically said, my house is like a Kmart blue light special for the strange and weird. Yet, my pets, I have 2 dogs and a cat, rarely ever react. And I hear all of this stuff about, pets know what's going on, they can see things, and they react to things. So my question to the panel is, do you think my pets, or other pets in general, are used to it, and that's why they don't react? Or are pets like a lot of people, where maybe some just can't tell there's anything spiritually weird going on?
I think it depends on the animal. For one, I think it could be very well that they're so used to your activity that's going on in your house, they're just like, oh, there's another one. And like I've told you before, I used to have a child that reacted to a whole lot of different stuff. So I think cats or pets in general, like people, they see a different dimension than we do. So it depends on the breed. Some breeds of cats and dogs are more sensitive than others. So you could break it down a whole lot, and I'm sure Elizabeth, being an animal communicator, could explain a lot more.
Yeah, well, okay, so I had 2 cats. One cat just passed, but Oreo was very spiritual. She could see. She could also be taken over by spirits who knew how to do that and be made to do, interesting and unusual things. But she could also, it was kind of by agreement. Bella just doesn't get it. She is and it's hard for her now that Oreo is gone because she can't take up that role of channeling light or, noticing when there's a spirit. White is just like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude. And it really does depend on the animal, but a lot of times animals can see. I just had a case where there was a ghost in a house, and the cat was letting the woman of the house know, and the ghost was trying to get someone to come and help her cross over. And so what she did is like she would throw herself on the floor in conniption fits so the cat would see it. The cat would freak out, and then the cat's owner would go, okay, what the heck is going on here? And that's when she ended up going, calling someone and saying, what is my cat reacting to? Oh, it's somebody who just realized that you would be somebody who would call somebody to help them open the portal to get this person on. So, but her cat just happened to be a cat who noticed, and the ghost was like, I'm throwing myself on the floor going, help me, help me, help me. And the cat was like, okay. Ah. But no, it's all different. But sometimes it is as easy as, oh yeah, that's Uncle Bob. Oh, there's your dad. Oh, there's Lucky who passed, a month ago, is still running around the house, and the other animals are just like, whatever. So.
I'd like to add too, because there was a comment that animals only see the benevolent ones. There have been cases where pets have been playing with benevolent ghosts, spirits, whatnot. So it's not just a matter of evil versus good. They do see benevolent beings, but they also play with the friendlier spirits.
Yeah, I think you hit on the head right there. It depends on what they're perceiving, because my Siamese is very. Matter of fact, the last time the astral team came to my house, it was because of the way my Siamese behaved. He usually, he'll notice things, but this time he went from being purring, curled up under my chin, to up and gone. He ran from whatever he saw, and that was the last time. A portal had opened up in my one of my closets in the bedroom. So that's and there's other times he seems to just notice something, or he looks at it and it's not a threat, or it doesn't bother him. You can tell that there's something there because he's looking at it, but no reaction. So I think it just depends. I think they can sense whether something is harmful or not. And depending on that's why you get such a variation in reactions. And apparently, Dave, the things that are going on in your house aren't going to be harmful to you because your animals aren't freaking out.
Right. We've got cases where, and that's on our questionnaire as well, is do you have animals in the house and how do they react? And there's cases where cats, dogs won't go into the room where there's the most activity. So that's how you know that pay attention to your animals. If they're acting in terror, then obviously you've got something potentially malevolent. Whereas if it's bouncing around, watching the ceiling, following it around, playing, I wouldn't worry too much.
Anybody else? Opinions? If not, let's move on to the next question. 3, 2.
I think we should move on because I don't know how to answer that one.
All right, that's because you were too busy brushing your hair. So let's go to.
I was not.
James, let's get to your second question of the night.
My second question is somewhat based on the first question. That said, I am delaying right now while I look for my second question. It's been a long time since I had that scrap of paper in front of me. My second question is in regards to, again, the not quite a poltergeist, but it's focused energy. And we've already talked about this, and I kind of stayed out of the conversation a bit because I wanted to bring this question up. Reiki, if you're familiar with it, it's intent and focused energy onto a location. It's not woohoo, it's not overly magic, it's just a physical thing. There has been tests where a bunch of people would focus on, I think it was water, from a distance. Remote viewed this water. They sent happy thoughts to water A and crappy thoughts to water B, and when they tested the water, they found one was pure and lovely and sprinkly and good water, and the other one was just blah. If we, and going back to the poltergeist Geist question. As humans, if we just carry around a lot of negativity and misery and being miserable, do you think we can manifest energy that is negative to the point that it will basically manifest as a being? And I know we are dealing with a clearing right now where on my team where we found that the reason the dad's bed shakes violently between 3 and 6 in the morning is because his son is extremely intuitive, clairvoyant, everything, and his energy is all over the place because he has mental health issues and doesn't like his dad. So it wasn't a ghost. It was, we believe, it was created by the boy. Any of you have an opinion on that? And what do you think about something like that?
And is the boy's living, I assume, right?
Yes. Yeah, he is.
I would have the boy ground. That's energy that needs to be grounded.
Oh, yeah. We've been trying that. He's at a point where it's got mental health issues where half of it has to be done with a psychologist, and the other has to be done is he actually has to take meditation lessons. You can't give him a meditation or point him at something on YouTube. He's got to be sat down and taught how to do this himself because he just cannot focus.
A guided meditation.
Yes, but in person because he can't focus. He'll need somebody standing there with a stick to get him back into it.
Okay.
But again,
there have been a lot of studies on mass consciousness, haven't there?
Well, and that brings me to a real quick story. When we were in Iraq, we thought we could, and it takes a lot of people and a lot of focused energy to get anything done. When we were in Iraq, when I ran a pagan group, we got online and we had all pagans that were in America and around the world that were all focused on peace for one day at one specific time, and we actually went to the 4 quarters of our base and at the exact specific time did a direct peace ritual. That was the quietest day in Iraq. There was not a shot fired in the whole country. But 24 hours later, right back to IEDs, right back to shootings, right back to attacks, the whole 9 yards. It takes a lot of timing, a lot of energy, it can be done, but to keep it going, it would take a whole lot of immense, what's the word I'm looking for? Coordination.
And focus, yeah.
And endurance.
Yeah. It can be done, though. I've proven it. And again, it goes back to our comment earlier where the human mind is a very powerful source if you can focus it.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up in the sense that we were talking about Slender Man. Is it possible then that as all of these people became aware of this story and this legend and it was in their minds and they were thinking about it, is it possible that somehow it was able to manifest simply through the spreading of its story and people being aware of it and believing in it and thinking about it and interested in it?
Yeah.
It could be another spirit appearing as Slender Man, because we've had situations where other spirits have begun to appear as aliens and they're not.
It could be that there's some kind of force out there, some, just sort of a wandering, demiurge or something, and when enough people think of a form, it becomes that form.
Yeah. And
it could be the trickster's. It could be the trickster spirit, the trickster energy type thing. Coyote, it's just a modern version.
I know paranormal investigations, you don't want to tell, if one person knows what we're looking for, you don't tell the whole group. There's a lady in a blue dress upstairs in the left corner, because everybody's going to be thinking about the lady in the blue dress upstairs. And who knows?
They're
You've
gonna
got
manifest her.
some little Loki energy hanging around and says, "Oh, look, if I show up like that, I'll get to talk to these people."
Right.
Yeah, and you'll think you're talking to the entity when you're actually just talking to the, something that's just being a little bit mischievous and curious about us.
And right, and BTO brings up shapeshifters. Shapeshifters are completely different than thought forms. Shapeshifters are generally physical and can shift into other forms. A mental manifestation. When I was in Iraq, before I went to Iraq, I actually created a thought form in a truck. Now, the truck wasn't the thought form. There was a thought form in the truck. And my motor sergeant gave my truck away. Well, when you create a thought form, you're attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And my truck went to an out site that, being a mechanic, I had to go out and check all the trucks. And we got the report that my truck wasn't starting. We went out there, and I talked to her, and she cranked right up. And one of the privates came out, and he's like, "What's going on, Sergeant Cooper? Did you fix it?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me tell you a story." And I told him about the thought form. I told him this truck is alive, essentially, without, explaining how or anything. He was kind of open-minded. And I said, if you come out here and you read to Christine, that's why I named her, every day, she'll run fine, unless there's actually a maintenance or a mechanical fault. But if everything's working right, she'll run perfectly. And one of his sergeants scoffed at it. And I heard like a day or two later that all of a sudden there was a wind that came out of nowhere because he told the private that reading was foolish, and a tent pole actually fell off the tent and hit him in the head. Now, as long as this private was sitting in this truck reading to her every day, she cranked right up. She ran just fine. But again, that's the power of what a thought form can do.
Yeah.
Oh, we had something like that on the Nimitz. Down in Central, there was an area where, if all else failed, you had central control, which was like kind of dead center, above, below, in the midships type of thing. So it's a protected area. And the 4160 volt system is down there, all the control panels and meters. And on top of a couple of the load centers, which, that monitors this voltage, there was a little statue of a fisherman, and there was a frog called the load toad. Now, the and you won't find anybody more superstitious than sailors, but this new, this jackass came down, and the first time he stood watch down there, I think it was a lieutenant commander. Yeah, Lieutenant Commander Electro told somebody, "Get those things off of there. This is not a craft." He got pompous about it and told him. Shortly thereafter, like within minutes, we lost the entire 4160 bus circuit. A catastrophic power failure on a nuclear, the flagship of Sixth Fleet, and the admiral was aboard. And when it came down, the captain's like, "What the hell happened?" And when it came out that Frank and the load toad had been taken off the captain and the admiral both are put those back where they belong. They chewed that lieutenant commander up one side and down the other. Now, whether it was, so many people, you got 6,000 people, or, this tradition, but whatever it was, as soon as those two little totems were taken off the control panel, all hell broke loose. When the power was restored, they were put back on there, and the rest of the crews, no problem. Mm-hmm. So even if that was a coincidence, it's going to reinforce the belief in the superstition that you don't move Frank and you don't move the load toad.
Exactly.
Do you guys think that all this, as we talk about this mass consciousness and energy thought forms, do you think that there will be a change as people, whether they become more interested in the paranormal or more spiritual? Do you think that there will be sort of a change to people trying to think positive and make a positive change on the world through thought? Do you think that will become a thing again?
I think they have to get past the division, the hatred, and the negativity that's going on right now. Is there a positive movement? There's always been, and there always will be a positive movement, but does it override the negativity? No, it does not.
No, I think you're always going to have competing. You're always going to have different ends of the spectrum. I mean, for every good, there's an evil type of. There's always going to be these diametrically opposed forces. It's never going to swing toward everybody being good or everybody being bad. I think it's always going to be a war of polarities.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the next question, guys. And
all right.
Let's see who's up. Everett, how about you?
Oh, okay. Eric Markham and I were talking one night, and we got on the subject of medical advancements and Da Vinci and how so many of the common life-saving techniques that we have today were actually done at the threat of execution, death, under the cover of night. And my question, just to kind of poke the bear a little bit and stir up the old corporate conspiracy theories, is of all the people who go missing, whether it be believed to be abductions or mass murderers or serial killers, what do you guys think about the idea that the medical or biomedical industries are abducting people to conduct tests on? We have so many drugs that are getting fast-tracked, and you can't watch TV today without seeing an advertisement for a drug that you hadn't heard of last week. What do you guys think of the possibility of people being abducted for these biomedical and medical companies?
I'll start. The first thing is, for drugs fast-tracked in the United States, I don't think it's highly likely because there are very strict research protocols and human subjects protocols, and the NIH is pretty strict about every little I and T, every I being dotted, every T being crossed. I used to run an NIH grant. But Russia, another country, and also people being taken for their organs. Yeah, poorer countries where they do have a lot of scientists, but they don't have as strict of controls because they're running a relatively new system for them. Yeah, absolutely. And, kidneys, livers, hearts, and organs. Boom. Mm-hmm. There you go.
And again, I think that's in foreign countries because, we have the organ donor program that kind of helps with that here in America.
Yes.
So I don't think you see that so much in America other than maybe in foreign, human trafficking, organ trafficking. We're right next to Mexico where I think a lot of that happens. So it's very possible that some of the people missing, not near all of them, might be abducted for that purpose. And then you have, again, I'll bring it up, my labs are possibly some of them. And then you've got the millions that come up missing in the national forests. That's I think there's a lot going on that some of them could be government abduction for those purposes. But as far as the advancement medical, a lot of that can be attributed to the military through war. A lot of the advances in medical technology come from the military. And so, it's funny you bring that up because I just saw they've got a new device that it's like a belt that straps over the chest for CPR that it actually does the compressions for you. And then you just push a button, and it does the respirations for you. So it's amazing what they're bringing up. Could some of that be attributed to the 1950s when we had Roswell and we have alien technology? Some of it could have been. But again, a lot of it, some of it comes from DARPA, some of it comes from other contract government agencies or companies. So, I mean, I think you have a plethora of areas.
Nice, very nice, very nice.
But you do. You have all these different areas to where I think the ones that are missing are just a drop in the bucket, but not necessarily all for organs and medical. And I agree with the pharmacology aspect. You got so many of these companies that look for willing participants to test their drugs that I don't think that's really an area.
There is how to put this? There is a underside to research, and yes, some of the people that come up missing, the mad scientist is not just a character in a book or movie. There are, scientists out there that are, grabbing people, doing their experiments, and one way to fast track, you get your human subjects, you do your testing, you work out what it's going to take to make this stuff work, then it's sort of like you do your legitimate research, and you already know how to get from point A to point B. So you make sure your experiments and your study follow the work you've already done. So it happens.
But statistically, I don't think it's feasible.
Oh, no, not everybody, not the thousands and thousands, but no. I know that there's some of the people that disappear and are never heard from again, have been in private research laboratories.
Well, my thought is, if you're testing a drug and you want to test it on humans, you don't need thousands and thousands. You just need a couple to test it, see your results, move on, kind of like Eric, like you said, from point A to point B. You don't need to do that initial double-blind study. You just need to know, if you inject this drug into somebody, what's it going to do, and how do you change that, or how do you make it do what you're going to do. So if you inject 4 people or 3 people or even 2 people, and both of them have a heart attack and die, or their kidneys fail or something, you know that that's going to be a side effect of it, and then you know how to engineer it or alter it to prevent that from happening.
Absolutely. Probably the best, there was actually a show, a little series on Netflix that exemplified the idea of the rogue scientists out there doing. It was called The OA. And this neurosurgeon or, neurobiologist had captives and was doing research. Now, they find labs like this all the time. It's not extremely, it's not publicized too much, or a way around it is, they get away with it, and just so that it doesn't give the medical community more of a black eye, it's sort of hushed up. And I'm not saying it happens every day, but I mean, every 10 years or so, something like this shows up. So I think, it's happening. Some of these people that are abducted and disappear are getting used as medical, lab rats.
But they still use animals in labs as well, and that's where they get their experiments done before the point A to point B is done on humans. Because I know Madigan Army Hospital was doing, and to my knowledge still do, on a place called The Farm on Fort Lewis, where they still use rats and mice and whatnot. And that was a highly classified area. I mean, you had to, it was underground from what I saw, and was chain linked, was camera, was, and, big parking lot, little tiny shack.
Yeah, but that's legitimate research. I mean, that's actually, that is, it's secret research, but it's still following certain protocols. There's these crazy, these rogue scientists out there who, whether they're delusional,
okay, guys,
or whether they're geniuses, they can do it. They're trying to find an answer.
Preacher, I gotta shut it down, man. We are at a break. The SOR Paranormal Roundtable is firing it up tonight. We got 2 hours down, 1 hour to go, and in hour number 3, because James Tyson and I are the token Canadians, we're going to give away a Spaced Out Radio prize pack to somebody either on Twitter, in the SOR Space Travelers, or in the Spreaker chat room. We're feeling generous for Canada Day. The Spaced Out Radio SOR Roundtable happens the final Friday of every month. We're so glad you're tuning us in. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. We'll be back with hour number 3 right now. Looking for a great weekend getaway this fall? Hi there, this is Dave Scott. Come on up to the heart of British Columbia for the first annual Spaced Out Radio Caribou Paracon, being held at the Spruce Hills Spa and Resort in 108 Mile Ranch, British Columbia. Speakers from all over North America are coming to discuss Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, and intuitiveness for the 3-day event, September 29th to October 1st. For more information, go to spacedoutradio.com and click on the Caribou Paracon banner and book your tickets today. Come to BC, where the paranormal is waiting for you.
The SOR Sightlines is a place for you to find answers to your strange experiences. Hi there, this is Mike Schmidt. If you have had an encounter with ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, ETs, or anything else that doesn't make sense, head to spacedoutradio.com and file a Sightlines report. All information you give is 100% confidential, and I will personally help you find the answers you need. SOR Sightlines, your answers are a click away.
Have you got your Cosmic Passport? If you need one, tune in to Cosmic Passport on Spaced Out Weekend. This is Elizabeth Anglin, ET experiencer, spirit medium, and host of Cosmic Passport. Each weekend I'll be bringing you interviews and support from other paranormal experiencers, and the best in intuitive spiritual guidance from across the globe. It's all happening starting at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, midnight Eastern, on spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with U4COP. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witkowski's Strange Days.
This is your medium, Joanna, from Spaced Out Weekend, 2 mediums and a large. I would love it if you would come and join us with host James Tyson every other Sunday on Spaced Out Weekend. Together, we will take your calls and your questions live. Our goal is to provide you with a positive outlook on deep questions that you may have. Questions regarding love, relationships, money, or whatever else is on your mind. Come and check us out at spacedoutradio.com.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories, from alien encounters to the latest conspiracies. You won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter online only at spacedoutradio.com.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Strange creatures lurking in the night, the sounds of wood knocking in the forest, odd happenings right out of a fictional world. These are the reports I love. Hi there, this is author Ronald Murphy, and I would love it if you join me and Spaced Out Radio host Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month on our journey into the unknown land of cryptozoology at spacedoutradio.com. From Mothman to Frogman and everything in between. Hey, they don't call me the crypto guru for nothing.
Did you know that Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi, it's James Tyson from Spaced Out Weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday night, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, you can join me and my guests for some great chatter about what's going on out in the universe, or even in that dark part of the basement you really don't want to go back into. Well, let's find the answers to your experiences together. So come on up to Uncle Jimbo's cabin on the weekend. For more information, look us up at spacedoutradio.com.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guest and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and hashtag Spaced Out Radio, and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, back to the program.
A child grew up too fast, went running wild. Now we don't know who to pray to anymore.
Welcome back to the second hour, or make that the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. Tomorrow night and Sunday, Uncle Jimbo, James Tyson, and Elizabeth Anglin are back for Spaced Out Weekend, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, right here on the mighty SOR. Just head to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Easy to tune in that way. Don't forget to tell a friend either, because the weekend show kicks ass as well. We want to welcome in everyone listening in on WQEE 99 Rock the Key down in Newton, Georgia, home of The Walking Dead. We are also live on the United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans and over 160 countries around the world. Great to have you with us as well. We're live on KTLK, The Fringe FM, Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. And if you're listening in on Revolution Radio, remember the Double R Machine is a donation station financed by you, the valued listener. Head on over to freedomslips.com and donate today. Bill Cardwell, I still hate your password for tonight, but he sets it each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Let me tell you, it's a doozy. Floxy, Nazi, inhalipilificate. Floxy, Nazi, I'm not even saying it. I'm done. That's your password for tonight on the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bill, I can't do it. Floxy, Nazi, inhalipilificate. There we go. I think I got it that time. Oh, well. We're just going to run with it. Bill, you actually screwed up because on the chat room you put in pillification, and in your message to me you only put pillificate. So you got to make up the mind, man. You got to make up the mind. Anyways, go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including joining the SOR Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. You can also check out our tickets for VIP tickets for the first annual Caribou Paracon, September 29th to October 1st. Tickets are on sale right now for 10% off until the end of July. We hope you come on in. Read up on the encounter online as well. It's a great place to get your paranormal news, so we hope that you do it. We bring in the rest of the panel for tonight on Spaced Out Radio's SOR Paranormal Roundtable. It happens the final Friday of every month. And because it's Canada Day, yes, there is our national anthem. Stand tall, everyone. Because it is Canada Day, and James Tyson and myself are two blessed and proud Canadians, what we're going to do here is we were not going to give away just one. We're going to give away 2 Spaced Out Radio packages. We really appreciate all of you listeners out there. And so the panel has absolutely chosen 2 people. Now, in order to qualify for this, you had to be either on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio joining in, you had to be in the Spreaker chat room, or you had to be part of the SOR Space Travelers Club. And so we did a vote. And we have not one, but 2 winners. The winners are going to receive Spaced Out Radio t-shirts, autographed posters, and some stickers. So, with a round of applause, we have picked the winners. Hold on. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. 150 years old Canada is. And guess what? Eric Cooper's phone finally dropped. I told you it was going to happen. And of course, Cooper's phone finally drops. So, thank you. I knew that was going to happen. Cooper, you back? Oh, we got our American National Anthem coming up now because 4th of July is coming up. I forgot to hit pause on YouTube, but that's okay. It's still a good anthem. All right, your winners, and you guys have to get me going here, are... Yeah, okay. Your winners are, in the Spreaker chat room, Trippin' Fool, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, Andrew Chaland. Trippin' Fool and Andrew Chaland, congratulations. You guys have won Spaced Out Radio packages courtesy of Spaced Out Radio. Really appreciate you doing them. Really appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys doing that. Trippin' and Andrew, thank you so much. You guys do a lot. You share the shows. You also, are spreading it all around social media. You're here every single night. It was a tough test. It was a tough test. You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to give away a third. I'm in a generous mood right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I need to give one to an SOR space traveler. Okay? I really do. I really need to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just in that mood. I'm going to give away a third one. Joe Allgaier. Joe Allgaier, you're going to win a package as well from Spaced Out Radio.
Oh, excellent.
What about? But
What?
he got one
Elizabeth?
already.
Elizabeth,
He
you don't
doesn't-
want Dave's package.
No, but I'm thinking of the.
Joe, you know what? You might have to get divorced from Elizabeth
Late-
because she's shooting you down right now.
No, it's just my homegirls, Vivian. Next month, my homegirls. I'm gonna see to it. Vivian and Gloria.
Absolutely.
Gail.
I know.
Once again, proving that good hair draws good things to your life.
There you go.
And 46. It's some 26.
Absolutely. There we go. Joe, Andrew, Trip, you're all winners at Spaced Out Radio. So I need you to do me a favor. I need you to email me at dave@spacedoutradio.com. That's dave@spacedoutradio.com. Send me your addresses. All right? Send me your addresses, and I will make sure that we get everything out to you guys because I want to make sure that you win or that you get your packages. All right? Rock and roll, people. Rock and roll. It's just the way we do things around here. I hope you enjoy it because I'm going to enjoy sending it to you guys. Just keep doing us a favor because all of you, it's not just these three, but all of you who spread the word of SOR and have helped us grow immensely over social media, I got to say thank you. On behalf of the entire Spaced Out Radio team and everybody who comes on this show, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to have each and every one of you who are there, okay? And those who are taking part and making sure that you see the talent in what we are doing 7 nights a week, and you're taking the time to do that. So really appreciate all of you doing that. I hope that we earn the right to have all of you continue to do that. I really, really appreciate that. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Seriously. I'm going to end the love in right now. But, you know, we got a lot of good people here. James, you got to admit, we got a lot of incredible people who listen to us 7 days a week, man.
Possibly. Okay, they're nice. It's I'm trying to remember which of the guy who pooped on me on Twitter today or yesterday. I was thinking, okay, which was it?
Well, somebody pooped on everybody, wasn't it?
I didn't see that. I missed that.
No, somebody. Was it on Eric's show that somebody pooped on everybody
the
other night? David O'Drake?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is Eric gone? Is Eric gone?
Eric. Yeah, I'm here. We were going to do that. I just dropped it.
I don't know.
Hey, Dave, can I mention something that you mentioned at the beginning of the hour?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just a little curious if you think calling out Bill Cardwell's mistake for typing in the password is really going to make the passwords any easier next week.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Bill Cardwell will get his revenge. He will get his revenge. I guarantee you. You know, Bill is a type of guy where, you know, he is very, very evil when it comes to the password at times. And him and his, I mean, you can't excuse his wife Katie in this. She has a lot to do with this. I'm not going to lie. Katie has a lot to do with this, and you know, they're both trouble. And there's only one reason for this, and if you're Canadian, you'll understand this. But they're Toronto Maple Leafs fans. You know, it's a sickness. It really is a sickness. And Bill has already replied, "Thank you, already a given, Everett. I'm a dead man. I'm a dead man next week." But honestly, being a Toronto Maple Leafs fan is a sickness in this country. And there's about 17 million Canadians who have that disease. And we all hope that they get better anytime soon. You know, we really do. We really hope they get better. But that's just the way it is. You know, that's just the way it is. Who didn't get question number 2 out?
I did.
Go ahead then.
So, does the use of hydrogen bombs testing and the reports of new alien races seem to be a coincidence?
Can
What do you think?
Can you repeat that again?
So, hydrogen bomb testing and, all these missile testings and that kind of thing going on with militaries around the world, because, that you got Korea and you got U.S., whatnot. Is there a correlation between the hydrogen bomb testings and...
I don't know.
I mean, how many how prevalent were UFO sightings up until the Manhattan Project? After our first nuke went off, the first H-bomb goes off, shortly thereafter you've got Roswell, you've got Kenneth Arnold. It's like, I'm almost wondering if the mushroom cloud is not a indicator that we've gone past, childhood's over, now we can destroy ourselves.
I agree. And to take it further, maybe they see it as a threat to our environment, and does it affect other planets? Is there a possibility to affect other planets with what we're doing?
I wonder if maybe, we talk about the multi-dimensional reality. Maybe when we set a nuke off here, it sets off ripples right at the epicenter where the energy and everything is the most focused. Maybe there is some interference in another dimension. One of the parallel dimensions that's real close.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if something like Tunguska wasn't a nuke that was detonated in another dimension. Maybe every time we do that, somebody else gets a little bit of collateral damage.
And you got to look at, too, in the 50s and 70s and whatnot, there are actually UFO cases that dismantled nuclear silos and, some of our weapon systems.
I have a question about that. It's a little off the topic, but I'm curious. And Eric Markham, you'd probably be the one to maybe answer this. For a while, there was that trend of sightings around nuclear power plants. And there were different claims that, they were everything from they were monitoring to our nuclear advancements in terms of energy to they were somehow getting energy from these. Has there been anything like that around Fukushima? Or
supposedly,
is it that sort of died?
Well, when it first happened, supposedly there was some sightings, and apparently there were some sightings around Chernobyl as well. But I haven't heard anything lately. I would think if you needed, I'm wondering, I wonder if it's almost not like an inductive charging. They go there and that radiation maybe it's not, they don't use it as power, but maybe they convert it somehow. It might just be like free gas. Well, what I've heard recently is a conventional electric plants get a lot of sightings. We've got a big Duke electric power plant over, it's called Walnut Cove, and there's sightings over there pretty frequently at the power plant.
They can recharge from the high tension power lines, and a lot of experiencers have found themselves under high tension power lines, and have also seen.
So it's an inductive charging system type of thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's very, very common, and a lot of personal accounts of that. And I have personal accounts of that. as well. So, you know, interesting where I moved to had a high tension power line a mile away, or not even 3/4 of a mile away, you know, and then where I grew up had one 3/4 of a mile away.
That's kind of one of the things that bothers me about the whole, they're here to help. There's Fukushima destroying the Pacific Ocean, and it seems like this would be a really good opportunity to show goodwill. You know?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they can do anything. I don't think they can even send robots into Fukushima. It's so hot now. If they send in a drone or something, it pretty much cooks within minutes of going into where the damage is. So, you know, this might be a good, you know, I wonder if they're debating it or if it's just a... Well, it just seems like here's a chance to, even if they have bad intent, coming in and cleaning that mess up might, you know, help be a Trojan horse or something where, I don't know. I think it's a missed opportunity.
Well, you're assuming that they have a current knowledge of nuclear anything, and most of the things that they were said to do was just prevention. You know, not, you know, they were really keen on prevention with the silos and the ships and things like that. And I think once the cat's out of the bag, it may be that they really don't have anything, just like we don't have anything.
But then what would have been the purpose of all the sightings around nuclear power plants? Well, it seemed like for quite a while people were postulating that they were drawing energy from these things. Was that just a mistake, or was it simply just
they're
the
drawing
monitoring?
energy from, you know, the nuclear power plants are creating electricity, and they have high tension wires, and they can inductively get those from the electricity that's running through the electrical component, not the nuclear component.
I think it depends on the race and their technology as well, though, because you also have cases where UFOs are drawing in water off the ocean, you know, off lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like
you know,
splitting hydrogen.
I looked up that
Electrolysis.
Can Elizabeth get a word in, please?
Yeah, the rubidium crystal, Eric Markham, I don't know if you were on or if it was James, the engineer talked about the rubidium crystal that's needed for the Zetans, the multi-mixed Zetan group. Rubidium can be highly radioactive, but it's processed by the body like it's potassium. And so the fact that he said that this crystal was rubidium, and the fact that so many experiencers report being potassium drained at the end of the night and that they need to eat more potassium. But also then that rubidium it isn't always in a highly radioactive form, but when it is, it's significantly radioactive. It has a long half-life. It's just interesting. You know, like the way they use it or how they use it may be much more sophisticated and biological than what we have. Our stuff is probably very harsh and very, you know, it's like toxic waste because it is. And they also would perceive it that way. Are you familiar with rubidium, Eric Markham?
No,
isn't it?
Yeah. No, I looked it up and I went, oh, it's perceived by the body to be potassium. Well, that makes sense.
Is that red thing? Was that the red crystal he was talking about?
The red crystal, he said, was rubidium, and that they take it with them so that somebody can't, you know, the pilots use it and they take it with them when they leave. Yeah. Well, and if they're running off of a bioelectric energy, then rubidium would do it. It might be the thing that provides the juncture point.
So it's used in the body like potassium, so that means it's a monovalent cation.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, monovalent cations, of course.
My journalism degree says you're right.
Yeah. And the Flopsy Mopsy
means it's got one. It's an ion with a net positive charge.
Elizabeth, didn't I tell you it was a net positive charge?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Now, what's this other stuff called? The
rubidium. 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 Rubidium.
Rubidium. I gotta look into that.
Look into it, because the body absorbs it and uses it like potassium, and then we have all these experiencers coming back saying, "I need potassium. I'm really potassium drained."
And do you think they dropped them near a banana field? No.
No,
I mean, always in the blackberries.
All right.
This is why.
Go ahead, James.
The Nazis couldn't get that space program working with the Brill Institute, because they didn't realize you needed basically an organic connection to the pilot.
Yeah. To the ship.
Let's move on to the next question. Everybody's done their second question, right?
Yes, I have.
All right, James, start off with your third.
I have no questions.
James, you start off with your third.
Oh, my third question. Oh, scheißen, but that ain't something danken Volkswagen. Yeah, I only wrote down two, so let me think of one that's coming up here. Hey, alien-wise, we have many different species, subspecies, and etc. Do you believe that with all these alien, first of all, you have to buy into there's aliens and then buy into there's subspecies of aliens. What do you think the draw is to our little blue planet? Or do you think it's having the same draw as another little blue planet a couple of light years away? Or are we, for some reason, the end-all and be-all in the universe?
That could be a show in itself.
Excellent.
We're special.
Could it be the biologic diversity? Because, I mean, we have so much on this planet.
It depends on which race you're talking about, because it also depends on which side of the fence you fall on. If you fall on the side of the fence that, the 16 races manipulated the DNA and created the human race, or change our DNA from the source that we were, then, you've got the good faction versus the negative faction. I mean, we like I said, we could go on to a whole show on that. There's, I want to say 180 different documented races that have been here. Some are still here, and they all have their own agenda. Whether some are actually using us as a food source, some are actually here for resources, some actually just visit and use the Earth as a stop-off point to go to another destination. And then there's some that want nothing to do with us, take a peek and leave. And those have been, because the human race is a very barbaric race. So some of them want nothing to do with us, don't see any hope for us. And then there's the other ones that do see hope for the humans, and we're actually a part of their federation, if you want to call it that. Then you've got the Council of Five, which is actually now the Council of Six. It used to be the Council of Nine. So, I mean, again, it depends on which race you're talking about. They all have their own agenda. Some with involving the humans, some not. So, and there's new races that are coming here all the time. Then you could talk about the window that's supposed to be here, that's 2017 to 2022, in which you have two different factions of aliens that are actually fighting. Now, what I could tell you is UFOs that you see in videos and the little dot in the sky and the little flash of light and whatnot is a drop in the bucket compared to what you see in clouds. Watch the clouds. If a cloud doesn't dissipate, then it could be a craft that is cloaked. Watch for the shape of the cloud. Watch for lights in the cloud. I mean, we could go on.
Coop, I have a question, and I don't mean it to sound facetious, but if there are alien races if there are alien races using us as a food source, how many people a year do you think are being abducted to be food for other aliens?
To be honest with you, they're not food for other aliens. They're food for themselves. There's about 5 different races that I know of that are documented that actually do. Well, one actually drinks blood, and that's where the vampire. They were actually spotted in Romania, and that's where the vampire connection comes from. But there's 5 different races that do use humans as a food source. And if you look at the thousands that are being taken from national forests, I'll bring that up again, that's just a drop in the bucket. I think the thousands of people that come up missing, some are government abductions, some of them are alien abductions, some of them are walking into wormholes or portals, that kind of thing. There's a whole lot of different stuff going on. And I don't know the number of, there might be more than 5 different races. There's only 5 races that we know of that are using humans as food sources. Reptilians being one.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I got a little bit of breaking news here. It's kind of interesting. Mike Schmidt, as you know, he is my Bigfoot guy around here. He literally just texted me seconds ago, and he says, I just got a report of vocals and a possible sighting at a ranch where I was trapping cougars a month ago. I'm loading my shotgun and heading out. It's about 6 kilometers out of town. We'll chat with you as soon as I know. So,
a sighting of what?
Well, there was a Bigfoot sighting and vocalizations minutes ago, about 10 minutes ago. So he's heading there right now.
What's he doing with a gun?
Yeah.
Well, if you saw in that area, the grizzly bears have moved down, and there's a high concentration of very big cats around there.
Right, I couldn't see Mike shooting a Bigfoot. I could see him taking it for the cougar aspect and the grizzly aspect.
Yeah,
that's why I tackle weapons.
Yeah, that's the only reason why. So, by this time Monday, we might have some info. I'm debating after the show now whether to go join him.
Don't debate. Off you go.
Right. You know you're going.
Your bags are packed.
Well, put it this way: I know I'll be able to find his vehicle. I just don't know if I'll be able to find him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's kind of cool.
If you don't show up on Monday, we know you went and it didn't work out too well.
Sure, James, you were saying.
Yeah, if you can't find him, just bang some rocks together.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he'll come.
Just watch for the shotgun, because if you bang rocks together, he might think you're something else.
That is true. That is true. You know, but yeah, we're gonna get a report here. I don't know if we'll get one before the show ends. I highly doubt it because there is no service out there. But he is racing out there right now to try and track down a Sasquatch that has possibly just been seen. And you know what? I'm going to give the human aspect to this. Okay. There's a lot of campers in this area right now because it is the long weekend. And when you live in an area like I do, where you're literally within an hour and a half drive, there's something like 500 lakes that you can camp at. It might be people just being idiots out there. But, I mean, when you have a potential sighting in the wilderness in this area, you got to run. So, good luck, Mikey. Godspeed, man. Go find it. Go find it for us. You know, we need that. We need that Sasquatch. Get a report. We should have gave him a microphone and a tape recorder so he could have done an interview. We should have.
Here I am standing with a giant furry beast somewhere in the bowels of...
Exactly. I'm here with Norm the Sasquatch, who was just spotted. Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's get to another question here. Let's go to, I don't know, Preacher. Figure it out.
Okay. All right. We've got people working on alternative energies. would it necessarily be a good thing to end the whole petrodollar economy that we're in? Would there be a way of transitioning that wouldn't cause a complete economic collapse?
I think you guys are already going to start running cars on coal, aren't you? What, Elizabeth? What? I don't get it.
Aren't we kind of starting that transition? I mean, we do have electric cars, so I don't see it taking place overnight or even over a course of 10 years. But I think we've kind of started that transition.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're afraid of hydrogen. They make it complicated.
Yeah.
Because face it, a solar panel, a zinc, and a copper electrode, you can make your own hydrogen at home.
Yep.
Real easy. So if you don't have to, if you set up an electrolysis engine inside your car, you put some water in there and park it in the sun, or you don't need a gas station anymore.
They had a guy with an engine that ran on water back in the 70s, I believe it was. I don't remember what year. But I mean, they've had this technology for a while. Why wasn't it pushed back then? I think we're too reliant on the petroleum industry. I think there's too many rich SOBs that want to keep it going to line their own pockets. I don't see it going. You've got countries like Germany that actually run their public transportation on corn oil. So, you've got other countries that are pushing that way. Are we going to? I don't think so. We've got too many billionaires that rely on it that aren't going to relinquish it. Now, the military and the Army, we've got solar panels on our Humvees that actually keep the batteries charged up. So you've got some areas that are kind of pushing that way and have known about technology, but I don't see it happening.
Well, that's basically what I'm saying. There is so much invested in and such a culture built around, and the power structure built around petrochemicals and, the gasoline and the diesel. When diesel invented the diesel engine, it wasn't supposed to run on a refined product. He designed it to run on, vegetable oil or alternative fuels, because he knew if, the way Germany was, they didn't have their own oil, and if they, got cut off, they need an alternative fuel source. And he designed the engine to run on just about anything.
Now it's going to crash the economy. That's a good one. It'll stop lining the billionaires' pockets. And look at DAPL. As much as they wanted DAPL to happen, it's already leaked oil into the rivers there. And it's not even at full function yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, couldn't you have another Henry Ford who somehow, through experimentation and invention, comes up with the next big system that isn't related on petrochemicals?
Wasn't that what Tesla is supposed to be?
Oh yeah, it's been, and actually Henry Ford, he wanted to run. I think the early Model Ts could run on, and the tractors could run on ethanol. That's why you had a spark advance and you had a choke, because if you were running on alcohol, you had to set things up a little differently to run, because you have to change the fuel mix and you have to change the spark ratio in order to use alcohol. And he hated DuPont. It seems to me it was DuPont that started things with gasoline, and gasoline was basically a toxic byproduct that they were surreptitiously pouring in the rivers. It was a waste. waste material until they figured out you could run cars on it.
I just want to give you guys an update. I just got another text message from Mike. He's getting pretty excited because he's quickly becoming the local Bigfoot guy. And he said he's talking to his friend who is in the area. The vocals of this potential Sasquatch sighting are progressing loudly. So he is racing out there right now. I'm going to try and get out there and find him tonight after the show. And I'm probably going to go back tomorrow as well to do some searching there. So, James, I may have an update for you and Liz tomorrow. You never know.
Oh, great.
Excellent.
Yeah. No, you guys, you guys got to admit, this is kind of exciting. It's kind of exciting for this to happen.
Well, will Mike come on air? Does he ever come on air, or is he too shy?
No, he's too shy.
Oh.
Yeah, but you know what? To his credit, he has a masterful, he has perfected, much like Bumblefoot, the goatee. He has perfected the goatee. So it is nice. He's got a good goatee going. But,
Or Van Dyke. Come on, Van Dyke.
Van Dyke. Yeah, same thing.
No.
Yeah.
Set up a gifting site there.
Well, you know what? We may have to do that. We may have to figure something out. I'm definitely going to try and get out there after the show, see if I can meet up with him, and then I think we're going to go into that area tomorrow because we're going to have to go search this a little bit smoother when it's nice and sunny out. So, yeah, maybe tomorrow night, James and Liz, I may message you before your show, so it'll give you some sort of update if we're able to find something. And yeah, that'll be a lot of fun, guys. A lot of fun.
Come on, come into S4 and talk about it.
If put it this way, if we find something, I will definitely do that.
Instead of going out tonight, why do you wait till tomorrow when the RCMP organized the search team for Mike?
This is true.
No, you might get a ride. You get a ride halfway there, and maybe
I might get a helicopter. Maybe. Yeah. You're right. No, you know what? I will say the area where Mike is going in, if I have it correctly, I'll tell you this little story, and I mentioned it a couple of times on the air. If this is the same place where he was looking for the cougars that were taking down the farmer's cattle, you got to realize cattle up here, when a cougar takes a calf or the wolves take a calf, that's about $800 to $1,500 lost by the farmer. And this farmer was down at that point of the year last year. He was down approximately, I think, $15,000. Okay, a lot of money.
Wow.
Okay, and so they got Mike up there to go try and hunt down this cougar that they estimate to be about 350 pounds, which is a big, big cat around here. And so anyways, Mike is walking along this trail as he's kind of searching around, and all of a sudden he hears, "Hello?" And he's by this old trapper's cabin that's been abandoned. And he hears, "Hello." And he got the hell out of Dodge. So, of course, he comes to me, and, everybody brings their weird stories to me. And I said, next time you go out there, bring a can of beer with you. Show them how to open it. I said, whether it's one of the ghosts or whether it's Sasquatch, I don't know. And I said, put it where you know where it is. So he finds this old abandoned cougar trap. And he puts the can of beer on top of it. He spiritually talks to it and says, this is how you open the can, enjoy your beer. He then sweeps around the entire area, so that way if he finds footprints, he's going to see that somebody has grabbed the can of beer. Well, he goes back a day or two later. The can of beer is gone, and on the ground where he had swept, there were 3 pieces of quartz sitting in a triangle, and 1 piece of quartz standing in the middle of it.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah. So he still has the quartz.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what do you think?
The quartz was where the can of beer was?
It was It was right below where the can of beer was. So at first I thought it was a ghost. I thought he was dealing with a ghost there. But
that's very Bigfoot.
Exactly.
But
because of the
it's also very large pack rat. It depends on how big the quartz was. But pack rat will take they would take the quartz to their midden pile with the shiny beer can.
Well, the beer can was off the ground.
Okay. So had it gone? Was it gone?
We have hold on. I just got a message from Mike. He says, seriously, this guy has texted me 3 times in the last hour. Experienced in the bush. He's not a pussy. He is scared. Seriously, if I don't contact you by noon tomorrow, I'm going into the area near Valentine Lake. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. This is this guy. You got to realize there's a lot of rough, tough men in this area. There's a lot of gold still in this area. There's a lot of prospectors who carry guns with them because people are trying to prospect on their sites. There's a lot of farmers. There's a lot of hunters. This is like the Wild West was up here a little bit. Even though it's much more civilized, but there's certain areas here where, I got to admit, I'm a little freaked out by him. I got to go out there. I got to go see if I can find his vehicle. That's interesting.
Stay tuned tomorrow. Will Dave get back?
Alive.
I don't even know. Yeah, but I don't even know if I'm going to find him, because if he pulls off on a side trail, there's so many side trails up there, especially at night, you can get lost big time. And it's definitely not areas where, unless you're with somebody who's experienced and I'm not experienced, going to play in those side trails alone is not a smart idea. So
make sure you fill your tank. Make sure you fill your gas tank.
One at a time, please.
Go ahead, Coop.
I was going to say, make sure you fill your gas tank and take a 24-hour pack.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Put it this way. I'm going to go up the logging road because it's a logging road, and I got enough gas in my tank, and I'm going to go up there. I'm not going off the side roads. I'm going to give it like 15, 20 minutes to try. I know the exact area where he is. I also know there's a bunch of side trails on there, and if I can't find him, I'm turning right around.
Make sure to take a tennis ball in case it's Dogman.
Oh, good call. Good call.
There you go.
Yes.
Frisbee work too.
Yeah. I swear to God, I'm going to put tennis balls in my 24-hour pack just in case.
There you go.
I've seen your 24-hour pack. It's got a sippy cup, a couple of sandwiches, and some Oreos.
Don't forget the Swedish berries. Everett, you were going to say.
I was just going to say that you said you were inexperienced in the bush and it was easy for people to get lost. Do you think it's a good idea to go wandering around at 1 o'clock in the morning out in the bush when there may be a Bigfoot there?
I'm not going in. You know what? I will tell you this. Bigfoot doesn't scare me. It's everything around that scares me. The grizzly bears that scare me. The cougars that scare me. The moose that scare me. My ex-mother-in-law might be in there. I don't know. That scares me. Okay?
Vampire squirrels.
Exactly.
Grizzly deer. Hey, did you know that Dallas Gilbert died?
Who's Dallas Gilbert?
Dallas Gilbert was one of the world's greatest Bigfoot hunters. He passed away, 67 years old. Well-known. Dallas was well-known for in the Ohio area. Portsmouth, Ohio, and was featured in a couple of documentaries, like Not Your Typical Bigfoot Movie, which followed the struggle of him and Wayne Burton as they attempted to catch one in Portsmouth. Yeah, he's a long time Bigfoot expert around the forest, actually, of West Virginia and stuff like that. But he's dead, Dave. So watch yourself.
That's sad. James, did you know I got a report? I actually got a report on the SOR Sightlines report from a gentleman named Dane who lives way up north of me in a town called Fort St. John, who recently I'm just looking for the email here, who recently actually had what could be British Columbia's first dogman encounter.
A bear with mange.
Well, according to this, because he said, please help, and he said, a couple weeks ago I drove north of Fort St. John to a spot where I go sometimes to smoke a bowl, so yes, he is a little hippie, and look at the stars and get out of the city. About an hour after I got there, I saw some snow that was on some trees fall to the ground. When I looked, I saw what I thought was either a black bear or a large dog. I noticed, though, it had horns on its head when curving inward towards each other. I was trying to think what it could be, so I turned my headlights on, saw a large dog. I could see its teeth. It looked like it was showing them. What I thought were horns were ears with tufts of hair. It began to make gurgling noises. At this point, I wanted to leave, and I felt very worried. I started up my vehicle. The thing then stood up and began walking along the edge of the tree line. At this point, I was leaving and about to head back onto the highway. I kept looking in my back mirror and saw it crawling towards my vehicle. I gunned it and got back on the highway and headed home. I know it had the head of the dog. I would guess it was about 7 feet tall. Interesting.
He's one of those guys that really should phone in and talk to a psychic and see what he saw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, check that out. Have somebody connect and see what it was he was looking at.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to get someone to connect up with that.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting story indeed. I know he sent the same report to Vic Cundiff, the Dogman guy. But if it is true, this could be British Columbia's first Dogman sighting.
Or it could also be a boom for whoever sold him that weed.
Or it may not just be regular weed, or the place where Wolverine was created could be up there, and they could have created a Dogman that's out, escaped.
Kind of funny, though, that as Bigfoot kind of ran the gamut, now we've got, then it was Chupacabra.
Yeah.
And then, Chupacabra started out in Puerto Rico as one thing, and now every dog with sarcoptic mange in Texas is considered a Chupacabra. We've got Dogman.
Hold on here. Sarcoptic mange? Is that what you're calling your hairdo?
Sarcoptic mange.
Is that what you're calling your hairdo?
No,
I have no hairdo. I have no hair. I was talking to the grandkids the other day, and the way where my Skype camera was, it was shining down the top of my head, and it looked like I was bald already. So I said, if it's going to look bald, it might as well be bald. So we had shaved every bit of it off.
Wow.
In 22 seconds.
Yeah, no, it took a little longer than that. It was amazingly stubborn.
Have there been any reports of Dogman kind of migrating to the west?
Linda Godfrey actually had a story that she told me of a hunter just west of Calgary when you go into the Rocky Mountains a couple of years ago, shot a deer. And as he was walking, following the trail to the deer, he came to the opening where the deer was lying dead on the ground, and all of a sudden he got chills up and down his spine. He looked almost to his left, let's say at about 10 o'clock, and there was a dogman there, standing there, and the dogman was looking at the dead deer. And then he saw the hunter. The dogman slowly walked his way over towards the deer, and the hunter backed away very, very quickly. He left that deer for him.
Mm-hmm.
As I think I would,
can
too.
imagine.
Yeah, I would, too.
Yeah. Especially if Dogman was a grizzly with mange.
Oh, crikey. They'd leave them
they've already got foul tempers because they got a mouthful of broken teeth and toothaches. Add sarcoptic mange to that.
Yeah.
Bummer.
That, imagine those, Dave, we got those because of global warming up north. We've got the grizzlies mating with polar bears.
Oh.
They are some nasty looking. Now, a polar bear is the only bear that actually has black skin.
Ooh.
That would be creepy because all bears have this regular flesh-colored skin. Polar bears is black, and their fur is actually
like a fiber optic.
Exactly, and it brings
it channels the sunlight down to the black skin and keeps them warm.
Right.
Yep.
And
Perfect.
they've been mating with grizzlies, and I can't remember what they call them, but it's a hybrid grizzly.
Polar grizz.
Polar grizz.
Golar bears.
But they're nasty looking, really nasty and big. And polar bears are probably one of the most cranky bears when it comes to humans. Grizzlies, not so much. They kind of waddle away unless you're sitting on top of some food. But man, you get those two mixed together, and if that got mange, holy crap, that would it would look like something from 200,000 years ago is coming back to life.
It's a pissed off bear, that's for sure. And you know what? Up in my territory, James, you've been up here a few times to help me with ghost hunts and stuff. You know, and as you're coming into my town along the highway, you see where the forest all begins. Like, we are surrounded by forest. And, it's amazing, but for the last 30, 35 years, there have been no grizzly bears around this area within, say a 30-mile range. And now, all of a sudden, people are reporting grizzly bears within 6 to 10 kilometers of town.
Yeah, it's the elk are coming back. And same thing happened down where you used to live before you moved up there, Dave.
Yeah.
There's an area called Pitt Lake at the north end. An elk herd has found its way back in there, and it's been 100-some years. And I guess for the last 20 years, it's getting bigger, and that's brought the grizzlies back down. There hasn't been a grizzly seen up there since the early 1800s. So they're just following the elk, and the elk are really getting reestablished.
Well, you know what? It's good for the elk, but you know what? I still would not mess with the grizzly bears.
Not at all.
They're just pissed. They're like a cat. They're just pissed off that it's Friday night at 11:57 and Bumblefoot's playing now, which means we got to wrap it up. Hey, crew, thank you so much.
Excellent show. Thanks for having us.
Always fun to be here.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys coming on out. James Tyson and Elizabeth Anglin will be here with Spaced Out Weekend coming on up this weekend. Eric Cooper's S4 after Spaced Out Weekend tomorrow night. You can click on spacedoutradio.com to get a hold of that show live as well. Want to thank From the Encounter Online, Eric Markham and Everett Thiemer. This has been a lot of fun. This one flew by, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll do it again in 30 days from now. Our next one would be June 30th. I hope you're all back. This is where you guys can talk.
Oh, July 30th.
Yeah, way to do that. All right, July 30th. Sorry, or no, pardon me. It'll be July 28th. I screwed up on the calendar. I'm all excited about Bigfoot right now.
Right,
hey, Dave.
Go.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be here then.
Why?
I'm going on a motorcycle ride with my club to Regina, and then from there to Sturgis and back.
Sweet, good for you.
So that's that weekend in there.
All right.
Sturgis.
Sturgis. Hey, Elizabeth, do you have a pre-record for tomorrow?
Might.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I've got a pre-record. I've got to put my Gettysburg Paranormal on.
You got Gettysburg tomorrow night. I'm going to wrap this up. You guys hold on. I'm going to wrap this up in about a minute. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, we want to say thank you for taking the time to hang out with us this week. Make sure you check on spacedoutradio.com 7 nights a week, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. Make sure you tell a friend, Space Travelers, because With all of us here and all of you out there, together, we own the night. And on that note, as I always like to do, say, Mr. Bumblefoot, take us home. Have a good one. Peace out.